Okay. So let's get started. Hello, everyone. I'm Nandini, and I'm an engineer on Service Cloud, and it's great to talk to you all today. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Before we start, I'm sure you've seen all of this before, but make purchasing decisions based on what's available in the market today. So this is what we're going to talk about. First, a quick look at what Omni-Channel is, and then a look at what skills-based routing is, which is what this session is about, and then more of a deep dive of skills-based routing with the demo, and then a quick look at the future of Omni-Channel. So what is Omni-Channel? If you haven't worked with Omni-Channel already, it's basically a routing engine. It helps you get work to available, qualified agents automatically. It prevents agents from having to go to a queue and then cherry pick what they want to do, and it basically saves everyone time. But it also lets you choose how much work an agent can do at a time, what kinds of work. You only want to pick an agent to pick up a chat, you let them go online only for chats. Another thing the Omni-Channel provides you with is the supervisor view. It gives you an overall detailed view of the current state of your contact center. You can see how busy your agents are, you can see what's waiting in the queue. But let's look at an example. Imagine you run a contact center and you support 5 languages and maybe 5 products. And how Omni-Channel would work today is you'd have to create basically 25 queues. 1 queue for every combination of language and product. But imagine this. Instead of that, if you could just create skills, you would have 5 skills for language, 5 skills for products, and when you want to assign it to work, you just assign multiple skills, or no skills at all, if anyone can handle it. It saves you the time of having to figure out which queue to use, managing hundreds of queues if you have many languages and products. And this is exactly what Omni-Channel skills-based routing does for you. You would no longer be limited by being able to assign work to just 1 queue. Like I said before, you can choose to assign 0 or many skills to work, and Omni-Channel will take all those skills and use it in the routing decision. And with Winter 19, with the release which is coming out now, skills-based routing is available for all non-real-time channels. It's also available in beta for chats, and the supervisor has been enhanced so that you can see everything, including your skills, in one view. One cool feature is that you can still use your queue-based routing. You don't need to give it up just because this new feature has come in. You can set up your new skills-based routing when you have the time to do so, and use your existing queue-based routing setup. Since all of this is just talking about it, let me show you how it works in real life, and not the demo. Not the roadmap. So the first step to setting up skills-based routing is basically you go to Setup, and you go to your Omni-Channel settings page, and you enable skills-based routing for your org. As you can see in this org, it's already set up. And then I like to think of the setup for skills-based routing in basically 2 halves. The first half is setting up the skills for the agent. Second half is assigning those skills to work which is coming in. So let's look at that first half, which is setting up the skills for agents. If you've used live agent skills, some of this will already be very familiar to you. But basically, you use the same skills object, and you create a new skill. Let's call it Dreamforce. And that's all you need to do on this page. One thing to note is that agents are not assigned through this view. To assign skills to agents, you use service resources. So you can just leave the rest of this empty. And you save this, and then you go to service resources. Remember that this is the first half, assigning skills to agents. I already have a service resource created for my user, but one thing to note is the resource type agent. Let me just show you the view. You put in a name, select a user, but then the important thing is to select the resource type as agent. That's what Omni-Channel service resources need. And you assign skills to this from the related skills list. What was it called? Dreamforce. And you can also assign a skill level. This is not mandatory. It's an integer value from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest skill level that you can have for the skill. So let's imagine I have a thing of 6. You need a start date, and you save. And that's it. Now when your agent goes online, they'll now have this Dreamforce skill. So this was the first half. Now the second half is how do you assign these skills that you've created to work that's coming in. And you have a couple of ways to do this. You could choose to create a pending service resource object in Apex, assign skill requirements to this, and route it through, say, a process builder, which calls the Apex class. But you could also choose to use an invocable action, which just does all of this for you. So the invocable action takes a list of skill IDs, the routing configuration ID, and an entity ID as input. The skill IDs is the skills that will be attached to the entity. The routing configuration ID defines the priority and capacity impact of that work. And the entity ID is, well, the entity you want to route. So in this example, I've created a flow which uses, well, that didn't help, which uses the standard action. I should probably have done this before. Well, now we'll see the flow, which uses the standard action. And this is just a basic flow. You could do something as fancy as you want to, but this flow, as an example, uses case category and case type to decide 2 skills that will be attached to any case that's created for skills-based routing, and also assigns priority to it, and finally calls the invocable action. And that's it. You're set up. We've done both halves of it. You've set up your agents. You've set up work to get skills attached to them. And let's look at it in action. So I've gone online for everything. Let me create a new case. My reason can be that I'm troubleshooting my origin, let's say web, category, let's say my camera is not working. I'm using this checkbox just to kick off the flow. And that's it. You can see that without assigning any queues, you could just route work in a more, in a way that seems more natural. You know that this is what the case is about, so you attach the skills to that. Now, imagine so I'm an agent, I look at this case, and I don't know how to deal with it. So right from the My Work view in the OmniChannel widget, I can just transfer it. I can search for the skills. Let's say it's just general help. And I transfer it. And that's it. So you can now transfer work from the OmniChannel widget. Let's cancel that. So this was for a non-real-time channel. The setup for chats is slightly different, but if you've been using chats for some time, it's very familiar. So it's similar to what you would do for a chat at any time. You basically create a chat button. Let's create a new chat button and call it Dreamforce. And the only thing that's different is instead of choosing one of the existing ones, you now choose OmniChannel skills. You choose a routing configuration to say, like before, what the priority and capacity impact of this is. You choose the skills required for this button, and you would save it. Then you do what you'd normally do for any chat. You have a deployment already. You create a page with this chat to initiate a chat. In the interest of time, I have already done that. And this is a skills-based routing button. And my agent is online for chats. And that's it. It works like you would expect a chat to work. One thing to note, though, that currently, since chat is in beta, transfer is not available for chats through this UI. So let's also look at the Omni Supervisor, which has now been enhanced to include everything that we've talked about today. Before, when it was not generally available, you couldn't see the skills in one view with the queues. But now for the online agent, you can see the skills assigned to the agent, the queues, and all the other stuff you expect to be there. The new view, the skills backlog, lets you see everything in your org with skills, but you can also filter it by skills to see what's in the queue. Another cool feature is that you can see that there's a chat going on here. Hello. And so can the supervisor. Your supervisor can now monitor chats, not just skills-based chats, but any chat in the Omni Supervisor in Lightning. There's a Lightning-only feature. It's not available in Classic. So that's the demo. Are there any questions? Or I can open up for questions at the end. You have a question? Yes. You'll have to talk loudly. I can't really hear here. All what agents to transfer?
Can you report on what agents transfer?
OK, I'll come down at the end of it. I'm sorry. I cannot hear you. That was a bad idea. I cannot hear from here.
I have a microphone. You just have to come and get it. There's no mic runner. If anybody wants to volunteer, that'd be great.
Thank you so much.
Can you report on when agents transfer?
Why the agent transfer?
When or why?
You can report on when the agent transferred. So a new agent work record is created with the status transferred, and based on that, you can do that. Any other questions? We'll also have time at the end. Also now, a quick look at the roadmap for OmniChannel. So this was skills-based routing for cases, and it was beta for chats. But in coming releases, it'll be generally available for all channels. Also for chats, right now you can't transfer through skills. You will be able to do so in the future. You can also use the power of Einstein and Trailhead. If you have already trained agents on Trailhead and they have skills there, it would be great if you could import them, and that's something that's coming up in future releases. So that's it. That's what I have. Don't forget the service keynote. It's tomorrow at 11 in Moscone North. Thank you. So any questions? And that's it. All right. Thank you.